Hey there guys, Devlon of TBI here, coming at you with a deck profile on one of my newest decks I was just able to finish because DBT01 had the one card I needed. So, funny. Uh, so let's get into it. It's another Dark Destroying World deck, but this time it is Death. So Death, really good deck right now, pretty alright. And my buddy is Gateway Limbo, who's pretty simple, 3-2-1 vanilla with Shadow Dive. Can't be called to center. That's the only backfire to him, which doesn't really matter. So yeah, pretty simple buddy and flag. Size 0 lineup, we got the 1 Twilight Count. He's a 4/1/1, size 0. And whenever I'm dealt damage, I can ping my opponent for 1 and gain 1 life. Well, I gain the life first and then ping him for 1, whatever. But he's mostly in there because I have a lot of ways to proc him off and get that extra 1 burn damage to my opponent. And then just swing at them later and all that stuff. So, pretty nice. Next up, we have 3 copies of Gallows SD, Death Ruler Gallows SD. He's a size 0/2/1/1. Can only be called if I have a death and drop. I mean, that's 90% of his deck. When he attacks and deals damage to my opponent, if I have another death on field, not monster, death, so item and set spells count, I gain 1 life. And of course, he has Shadow Dive. Like, 90% of the monsters in this deck have Shadow Dive. It's like, literally, I shit you not, one monster that does not have Shadow Dive in this deck. So this deck is pretty much Shadow Dive Rush. Well, 1 and 2 monsters, because he's 1 and there's another 1. So, yeah. 2 Death Ruler Burial. He's just a simple 1/2/1 Shadow Diver. 2 crit Shadow Diver. I was playing Delomir, who is a 1/1/1, but his effect doesn't proc off until I get to 6 or less life, and he has to actually hit. So I decided to use this guy instead, because simple 2 crit, vanilla with Shadow Dive, pretty nice. And he's a death, so yeah. 2 of him. Next up, we got 3 copies of probably one of the MVP cards in this deck. Gateway Gallows Gestus. 3/1/3 can only be called if I have 3 or more death and drop. Pretty easy. He has Shadow Dive, and what he does is he gives all other death monsters plus 2,000 power and critical plus 1. So he's pretty good. Next up, we have 4 copies of OG Gallows. This ain't a death deck without OG Gallows. And there's a card stuck in the back. This ain't a death deck without OG Gallows. 2/2/1 size 1. Hit 1 gauge. Soul Absorption Chain. Whenever he deals damage to my opponent, gain 1 life. And I'm not even going to say Shadow Dive because that's basically all the monsters. I'll tell you when a monster does not have Shadow Dive, people. 4 copies of the buddy. Already explained them, so really no need to get into them. And we're getting into the only other monster that does not have Shadow Dive, which is Death Wizard Dragon. 3/2/3, size 2. Basically, I gain 2 gauge and take a damage. He's one of the cards that helps proc off Dawn, because take 1 damage after I gain a 2 gauge. So basically what's happening is I'm gaining 2 gauge, I'm taking a damage, then I'm gaining a life and burning my opponent for 1. So that's pretty good pluses right there. So he's Death Wizard's in here for the gauge, Excel, because this deck does use a lot of gauge. And then for my 3, I play 2 copies of Gate Guider, Final Gate Guider Geodeca, aka the man that makes you abandon all hope. 4/3/3 size 3, pay 2 gauge to call him, and he has double attack. So a double attack Shadow Diver that has 3 crit. Boy, that's a lot of damage. Getting into the spells, I played 2 copies of Abyss Symphony. Pretty much, we all know what Abyss Symphony does. 6 life or less, pay gauge, draw 2. We have 2 copies of Judgment Day. Judgment Day is pretty much one of the end gamers of the deck, or one of the damage output cards of the deck. Pay 1 gauge. For this turn, all death monsters on my field get critical plus 1. This card makes your opponent shit their pants, because you'll see why later on with other cards in the deck that I play. But this card makes your opponent shit their pants so hard. All the monsters that I just showed you can go up to like 3 to like 2 to 4 crit, which is crazy. 4 crit Geodeca, a 4 crit double attack Shadow Diver. Boy, you will be afraid of that. You better have all the nose in the world, or counter removal. And then I played 2 copies of Devil Stigma. Thank God I was able to get Devil Stigma. This card is really hard to get. But Devil Stigma is really good in this deck because you can destroy one of your monsters to gain 2 gauge and 1 life. And gauge is really important in this deck because you really want to get that gauge in this deck. Can't cast it during the final phase, unfortunately. But you can cast it at the end of battle phase and then go straight to final phase. So you can bypass all that rolling bull crap. So pretty nice. And then next we have the one card that basically made Death better what it is today. Great River of Hades Archelon. Pay 1 gauge to set this. All death monsters on my field cannot be destroyed by effects of my opponent's cards nor returned to him. So that 4 crit Geodeca that I talked about earlier, counter removes a scratch off the list. You better have some nose, or you better attack him. You better waste an attack to the side and kill him. That's the only way you're saving yourself. Only ways you're saving yourself, real talk. 3 cards of Death Hiding. This is pretty much the Armor Knight reuse for this deck. Get any monster with Shadow Dive to my hand from drop. And it's a death itself, so it replaces itself, the death attribute cards in the grave for Gallus Gestis. I mean not Gallus, yeah, Gallus Gestis and Gallus SD. Just in case for a fun fact. Three Death Grips. Pretty much. Pay gauge, pop a size 2 less monster counter. Pretty good pretty good removal. Next up we have 3 copies of Midnight Shadow, the new Tsuku art from DBT01. Boy, this card looks amazing. And for some reason you can't really tell that this is foil. That's crazy. They make these parallel foils and like you can't even tell it's foil. The only thing that's pretty much foil in this card is his freaking armor right here. None of this is foil. That's crazy. They should have made the whole thing foil instead of just the armor. That's crazy. But yes, we all know what Midnight Shadow does. It's basically art of body replacement. So, or Solomon Shield clone. So yeah. And of course, this happens. 4 Blood Dragon Shields, pretty much stable. 4. Okay, so 4 Bloody Fate. This is the main item I use for this deck because it synergizes with the deck a lot. 1, it procs Dawn. It's quick, causes pay a gauge, and take a damage. Not pay a life, take a damage. It's a death card, so it could count as cards in your drop zone for death for guesses and SD. And it has Shadow Dive, so like the deck is all Shadow Dive. But what this card does as a 4-1 weapon is when it deals damage to my opponent, draw a card. So this is really good. It's also draw power, so that's like a bonus right there. So this card actually has a lot of usage. So synergize with the deck and really good usage. Impacts. Getting into the first card. Here's the one card, the infamous Gallows Bloodsucker. 5/2/7. I don't know why it has 7,000 defense and it's a death card. Boy, size 2, impact monster, call cost, pay 2 gauge, and destroy a monster in your field. Shadow Dive, of course, and whenever this card deals damage to my opponent, I gain life equal to this card's critical. Now, here's what's scary about this card. This card can gain critical in this deck. I just showed you Gallus Guesses and Judgment Day. Those two together makes this guy a 4 crit damage output hitter. And if my opponent does not know, then I'm gaining, or reduce the damage and gain life, or reduce damage in general, I'm gaining 4 life. I'm gaining 2 to 4 life, I should say. I'm not going to say 4 then, definitely. That's not, like, I have to get the combo first. I'm gaining 2 to 4 life, and boy, the life difference is crazy. First of all, you're taking the damage, and then I'm gaining the life. So, I hit you for 4, I gain 4. The difference in life is crazy. You might as well call this Blue Sky Knight, you might as well call DDW Blue Sky Knights at this point, because boy, this is crazy. This card is really crazy, and there's so many combo plays you can do with this card. So, this card is really nice. And then the last card in the deck is 2 Hellgate Walter, because Hellgate Walter is still an amazing card. Get your death. You could just grab up to 2 death monsters with different sizes from your drop, and call them to separate areas by baiting their call cost. And I get another attack phase. Boy, this card is amazing. So yeah. So that is the death deck for you guys. That's my version of death right now. It might change later on depending on if some certain cards come out, some promos that does things, so, or anything else that comes out in the future that's really good comes out. So yeah, it will change. But yeah, this is the death deck for you guys. If you guys want to see a sideboard, 10 likes, just simple 10 likes. And yeah, this is Devlon of TBI going out. Later, guys.